YouTube? It's your boy. God damn. Man, what's good? It's your boy Abemoney Reacts, and today I'm here with another reaction video. Alright, so we got Jimmy High Roller. This comeback should have been impossible. And he's talking about the Knicks. Oh god, the Knicks one. God damn it. Still can't believe that shit. I can't even believe that shit is real. But make sure you like, comment, subscribe, roll to 1K, and let's get straight to the video, chat.
Going down 3-1 in the NBA Finals is virtually a death sentence. Throughout the
Facts.
79 final series in NBA history, 38
over.
of them reached the dreaded 3-1 deficit, and only one team has come back from it.
Chat, you think that was a goaltending by LeBron? No, I think it was.
And with that being the case, it was imperative that the San Antonio Spurs won Game 4 on Wednesday night in Madison Square Garden to prevent going down 3-1 in the series and give themselves a real chance to win an NBA title. And that's exactly what they were on track to do.
I had a feeling they was gonna come back,
Victor
but
Wembanyama and the Spurs put together arguably
it was
their
right
best
in their
half of
hands
the entire
too.
season. Record-breaking efficiency, stifling defense, and a first
know
half
how
of
the hell
basketball
they
so
do that
dominant
lead,
that it earned them the third
crazy
largest
to me,
lead
chat.
going into the half
Crazy.
in the history of the finals. 76-49, a 27-point chasm separating them and the New York Knicks. An impossibly large deficit for the Knicks to overcome. In fact, the largest comeback ever achieved in the finals was 24 points. So, barring literally the worst half of basketball in the history of the finals, the Spurs were all but guaranteed to tie up the series going back into San Antonio with the wins at their back and all the momentum leading into Game 5. What transpired over the next 24 minutes of game time was literally the worst half of basketball in the history of the finals.
Yeah, this was a choke job game by the San Antonio Spurs, bro. Total choke job.
Bedlam here at the Garden. They can't believe it. The greatest comeback in NBA playoff history.
Total choke job.
Today's video is sponsored by SeatGeek. Handle all of your ticketing needs from the MLB to the NBA and NHL playoffs, even World Cup tickets on SeatGeek. The #1 rated ticketing app with over 28 million downloads.
So short ass video, so damn. Yeah.
What you are looking at is a graph of the live win probability from Game 4 of the NBA Finals, according to Unpredictable.com. The San Antonio Spurs played so well in the first half that by the end of the first quarter, the Knicks' win probability was already just 17.6%. By halftime, the Knicks' win probability fell to just 1.5%. And with about 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter, their probability of winning this game was just 1%.
Wow.
1%. Unfortunately for the Spurs, basketball is
I don't know how the
game
hell they dropped the ball
probability.
and just choke like that game. Like, I really don't know how. How the hell do you choke a 29-point lead, bro? You had the momentum right on your side, bro.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is a visual representation of the greatest comeback in the history of the finals, and quite possibly the history of the NBA. Because what the Knicks did on Wednesday night wasn't just improbable, it should have been impossible. How in the world did the Knicks pull this off? Well, you have to see it to believe it.
Check.
Keldon Johnson goes in hard. Can't get it. The tip misses.
The first signs of a catastrophic meltdown by the Spurs all started right about here. With just under 9 minutes left in the third quarter,
and this is where I got nervous, Chime. And I told people before this game I was not comfortable,
playing
bro.
with a tangible sense of urgency
Them
considering
being
the
up big.
circumstance.
That's their problem. They choke leads. They choke leads these series, bro. They will have these big leads and then just
25-footer 4 seconds into the shot clock. Tim Legler was on the call, and his commentary on this possession could not have been more spot on.
And right now, Mike Brown doesn't mind those quick threes by the Spurs. Even if they go in, you want to speed this game up to give your team more possessions.
Just
Yeah,
moments
bro.
later, Jalen Brunson hits a 3, putting the Knicks on a 7-0 scoring run while Taylor Swift
Yeah, this
cosplays as an actual
Brunson
Knicks
was
fan.
not going nowhere.
Spurs call a
Yo,
timeout. Their
Taylor
game
Swift.
plan
Yo,
still
Taylor
intact.
Swift. She's not,
For now.
I thought she was a
Just a
Chiefs
couple
fan.
possessions later, after a
She
miss
was
from
a Philly
Brunson, the
fan.
Spurs come down and get into a two-man game with Wemby setting a screen for De'Aaron Fox. Wemby pops out, and Fox passes the ball to absolutely no one.
Yeah,
Knicks
Fox
ball, we're
was
going the
stinking
other
it
way.
up.
Fortunately for San Antonio, the Knicks do not
Yo,
convert on this possession, so the Spurs
what's
have a
good,
chance
Nelson?
to come
W
down and
Nelson in
extend
the
their lead
chat,
back
man.
up to 25.
What's up with you, brother?
With another deep,
Welcome
wildly
in,
contested
welcome in,
three-pointer
welcome in.
that, of course, doesn't fall. The Knicks, on the other hand, come
Welcome
down, move the ball around until they find OG in the corner for
Early
this
stream
open look.
tonight.
The
Early
lead
stream
cut
today.
down to 19. Knicks on a 10-0 run. At this point, one can only assume the Spurs will probably stop shooting
Your
early shot
volume
clock
is
threes
down?
and really get into their half-court offense, right?
Points, Brunson with 22.
What you
They got
mean?
44 to 62.
You can't hear the
Johnson
audio?
wide open. Can't hit.
Right. Well,
You can't hear the, like, me talking or, like, the audio? Can you hear me talking? Or, like, you can't hear the video? Can you hear me talking at least? Talking, so is the video you cannot hear? Let me know.
at least on the next possession, the Spurs do a better job at getting into something that resembles a coherent offensive set.
Okay, hopefully that's better.
Fox step back 3.
Fox.
It's another highly contested step back 3. And another
Yeah,
miss.
they
What's worse than
so
another
bad.
missed 3?
Cornette checks in. Hart tries a 3.
Giving up another 3 on the other end just 27 seconds later. The Knicks now on a
This game
13-0
was
run.
fire.
Eventually, the Spurs
Wait,
got
can you
back on
hear
track
everything,
and
Nelson,
maintained their
now?
lead over the next 6 minutes.
Clearly and
Slowly
good.
working down the clock and
Hopefully.
holding off the Knicks, which in and of itself was a miracle considering how poorly they were playing. Throughout the third quarter, the Spurs attempted
41
20 shots.
points.
They hit 4
for
of them.
Jalen.
In fact, they had more turnovers
Nah,
than
he
they
scored
did made shots
45.
in the quarter. At the start of the quarter,
yesterday.
the Spurs had a 27-point
good.
lead.
That's done.
By the end of it, their lead was just
Yeah, he
15.
scored 45
But that was some of the
yesterday, so
worst basketball the Spurs had
crazy.
played all season, especially considering the first half they just put up. It would take
Yeah, I don't
an
know how the hell they
unprecedented,
came back, bro.
horrific collapse to
That's
follow up
insane.
that third quarter with an even worse fourth quarter.
And I called it before the game too. I said I don't feel comfortable about this lead
Suddenly it's
I
cut
don't
to
feel
16.
comfortable.
That's 13 straight points.
because Spurs
Alvarado
gave up
tries
so
a
many
three.
leads this
Rolls
finals.
around and drops in. Beautiful pass inside. Bridges banks it home. Shot clock winding down. Towns off the bounce. Step back. Puts up the 3. It's good.
That should have been a foul. I can't even
Brunson.
lie.
Ananobi. 3-pointer's good.
Yeah, nobody was turning it into prime LeBron.
You ever watch a
in this
game and
bitch.
see
No
some stuff that can
bullshit.
only be attributed to what feels
No
like
bullshit.
fate? Despite the adjustments, despite the attention to detail or the effort, it just seems like there's an outcome that is destined to happen. This was one of those games. After having one of the greatest offensive halves in playoff history, regardless of the looks the Spurs got, they struggled to get them to fall. And regardless of the looks the Knicks
too
got,
many
they couldn't
threes,
seem to
bro.
miss.
Like,
And
once
after
the
another
threes are
run from the
working,
Knicks,
go to
the
the
Spurs
paint,
lead
bro.
is now cut to
You're
just
relying on too
11
many
points.
threes,
Now,
bro.
some of this can be attributed to experience. Some of it can be attributed to focus and sticking to a game plan. And some of it is sheer luck. But when you're witnessing a professional basketball player doing a balancing act, tiptoeing the backcourt in the midst of a historic comeback before heaving the ball to the opposing team, one may begin to believe there's a greater force at work here. I am sitting at home on the other side of the country, and I can physically feel the Knicks' momentum from my couch. Coming back down the court, the Knicks got the
Oh,
ball to Cat in
bullshit.
the corner. But he's
This is
got
like,
Wemby on,
yeah,
the
hard drop out
defensive
your
player
ass,
of the year,
pause.
one of the best defenders of all time. Surely, he
Pause.
doesn't just go right at him and get another bucket here.
Towns fakes, drives on Wemby, goes inside, stops, flips it up, shot
The
is good.
block.
Of course he does. The lead, now
Back at the
just
board,
9
though.
points. Madison Square Garden is in mass hysteria. With a chance to swing the game back in their favor, the Spurs come back down the court. And considering their circumstance and what has occurred over the last 18 minutes, do you think they, A, work the ball around until they get a good look? B, feed the ball to their 7'5" alien superstar rolling to the basket? Or C, do the exact same thing that got him into this mess and take another early three-pointer?
Chipping away. Fox picks up his dribble. Champagny Can't get it.
If you said option C, you are correct. But look, the Spurs forced a turnover on the other end. They've got another chance to build this lead back up on the fast break. Any guesses as to what they will do on this crucial, potentially momentum-swinging possession?
Castle may have gotten a piece of it. Fox kicks it out. Vassell, right side, three-pointer, can't get it.
You can't make it up. Down on the other end, Jalen Brunson works his magic and makes a tough layup off the glass to shrink the lead to just 7. The Knicks are now on a 17-4 run against the youngest, most inexperienced finals team in league history. Now would probably be a good time to call a timeout.
Fox searching. Anunoby on him. Fox steps back, jump shot, puts it up, can't get it. Wemby tips it out of bounds. Nick Ball.
Or not. The Knicks come back down the other way and immediately set a screen for Brunson. Why is Wemby guarding a 6'0" Jose Alvarado 20 feet away from the basket? I don't know. But after the switch, he's now on Brunson. But now he's dropping back to play strong side help with Champagnie in the corner. The Knicks swing the ball to the other wing, and there's Wemby right on time to help. And guarding this corner man is Champagnie. But wait, he was supposed to be in the opposite corner, which means someone's open.
Damn. Off the bounce. Corner three, Anunoby. Bang! 4-point game. Timeout, San Antonio.
One possession game. Mitch Johnson realizes he has the autonomy to call a timeout. Larry David is losing his mind, and the world is ending. Or at least it feels like it is, if you're a Spurs fan. But there's still hope. After trading a few buckets, the Spurs maintain their 4-point lead until there's about 2:20 left on the clock, and Jalen Brunson hit this three over Wemby.
That was tough. Wemby, he said, hold that. Wemby, he said, hold that. He said, hold that.
1-point game. This building is shaking right now.
He said, yo,
you ever see a dagger that wasn't a game winner or a go-ahead bucket? Well, you just did, because it is now just a 1-point game, and the Spurs are in a state of shock. How do I know this? Because on the very next possession, De'Aaron Fox, the team veteran, a starting point guard in the NBA Finals, did this.
Now Karl-Anthony Towns. Fox throws it away.
After two quarters of some of the most appalling basketball you've ever seen, this should have been the nail in the coffin for the Spurs and their hopes of winning this game.
Josh Hart ahead of the pack, lays it up. Lost. Oh, he missed the layup.
But it wasn't. Miraculously, Josh Hart missed this wide-open layup that would have put the Knicks up by 1. And despite their best efforts to lose it, the Spurs still have the lead. And on the very next possession, Wemby gets fouled and sent to the line to shoot 2 free throws. Now, Wemby is an excellent free throw shooter with a career playoff free throw percentage of 85%. He's also the future face of the NBA in a potential legacy-defining moment of his career. Under most circumstances, this trip to the line would put the Spurs up by 3 points. But this is far from most circumstances.
And got that up on the glass. Credit Castle for creating those footsteps behind him. Wembanyama misses a free throw. The greatest comeback in NBA Finals history. Missed them both.
0 for 2. The lead, still just 1 point. Or at least, it was.
At 6, Castle on him now. Brunson, stutter dribble, drives inside, goes up, floaters up. It's good! The Knicks take the lead with 1:22 remaining.
For the first time throughout this entire game, the Knicks take the lead with just over a minute left on the clock. If this game ended right here, what you just witnessed is already the most improbable, most unbelievable sequence of events in the history of the finals. But somehow, despite there being just a minute 22 left on the clock, this game is far from over. Thanks to a pair of free throws from Stephon Castle, the Spurs regain a 1-point lead with just 30 seconds left on the clock. And on the very next possession, this happens.
Kicks it out in the corner. Brunson gets it back. Brunson on the drive. The floater's up. Shot won't go. Rebound deflected in the backcourt.
Fox, this was such a stupid play.
NBA players are the best basketball players on the planet. In spite of this, they still often make mistakes. And in the finals, these mistakes tend to live on in infamy. For every great, career-defining playoff moment, there are equally as many infamous blunders that stick with a player long after they retire. What you're about to witness is one of those mistakes.
Fox has it inside, blocked by Anunoby. 9 seconds remaining. 6 seconds remaining. And Mike Brown, before they call a foul.
With less than 14 seconds on the clock, the Spurs were up by 1 with possession of the ball. De'Aaron Fox could have wasted time off the clock and forced the Knicks to foul. He could have called a timeout. He could have cleared it out and passed it to a teammate. Instead, he went up for a layup and got blocked, giving the Knicks one more chance to win this game. But of all the unlikely things to occur in this game to bring us to this point, converting on a bucket with less than 6 seconds on the clock, down 1, in the finals is about as unlikely as any. Dating back to 1997, the beginning of the play-by-play era, there have only been 6 go-ahead baskets in the finals with less than 6 seconds left in the game. All 6 of these buckets cemented as some of the most clutch, legacy-defining moments in modern NBA history. Even after their historic, unprecedented comeback, the Knicks still had to pull off what has only happened 6 times in the last 30 years. What are the odds that they can pull it off? About as unlikely as everything that led them to this point.
It might just go flat for Jalen Brunson, allow him to operate at the top, 1-on-1. Brunson gets it, fires up a 3. Shot no good, the tip, it's gone! It's gone!
That's crazy.
It's gone! With 1.2
That is crazy,
remaining.
bro.
Knicks take the lead! OG
Still can't believe the Knicks won, bro.
107-106. Bedlam here at the Garden. They can't believe it. The greatest comeback in NBA playoff history. The Knicks pull off the miracle comeback and lead it 3 games to 1. Now 1 win away from a title.
Yo, New York is got
And that, my friends, is the greatest comeback in NBA history.
That's tough. That's tough. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Go to 1K. He is out. Peace.